Right on. So, really excited to have Sorin come on the show. Sorin runs a really well-known YouTube channel, doing a lot of DIY and repair, but also making videos on Helium. Sorin, welcome, and thanks for coming on.
Hi, Nick, and thank you very much for inviting me.
Of course. Yeah. So we had a recent State of the Network show, and your name came up as it has come up in the past. And people were asking, like, oh, let's get Sorin on the show and kind of figure out what your views on helium are. But before we did the helium side, I wanted to get a little bit more background on you. Can you tell me what you do for work and what you're kind of trained in, what you went to school for, if you did?
Nothing major, I'm just fixing rubbish all day long.
Okay.
That's all what I did all my life.
Really?
Just fixing stuff. Yeah.
And how did you get started with that? Were you always interested in electronics as a kid?
Yeah, from when I was a kid. Back in my country, in Romania, we are living in communism.
Yep.
And every kid has to pick up a passion, something to learn.
Yeah.
And I pick up the electronics. And I really enjoy it.
Yeah, no, I can tell you enjoy it watching your videos. It's cool to see when someone who's really good gets excited about something, and you can share their excitement. So it's been really nice for me to watch when you fix stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that's a little bit of the electronic side. And then did you go to school? Did you go to high school, college, any of that stuff? Did you kind of pursue that? Or
yeah, obviously, like everyone. Yeah.
No, not me. I'm behind you in that one. What did you go to school for? Or what did you study?
Chemistry.
Chemistry. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. And then you came out of
Chemistry is nice.
Yeah, it's all about understanding the world. That's what is the most exciting and joyful thing we can do, is figuring out how we understand the world and our favorite way to understand it, whether it's, feeling it or learning it or experimenting and whatever it is.
Yes.
What was your first job out of school?
First what? Sorry?
Your first job out of school was the first thing you did for work.
I got hired on a big company fixing, servicing some CNC machines. I was like 17 years old.
Okay, and that was in Romania still?
Yeah, that was my first job. Yeah.
Yeah. And then how long did you do that?
Few years there. Then I go to army. It was like a must go, so yep. I had to go. And forward fast, I came to England like 10 years ago.
Okay, so you've been
and from that point, I'm working on a computer shop.
Okay, and you're just fixing computers that people bring in. Is it your shop?
Yeah. It's not my shop. Okay. I'm working there.
Not yet. You should have your own shop though.
No, thank you. I had my own business back in my country like 12 years, and I don't need that headache.
Yeah. No, it's a lot to run your own business for sure. It's nice. I don't know what they call it in England or Romania, but we call it like W-2 and a W-2 job where you're working for someone else and you're getting a paycheck and you go and do your work, go home and do your own thing. It's a really nice thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a lot to be said for that, but the freedom of running your own show is the lure on the opposite side. Okay. So you've been fixing computers and electronics for a long time. Tell me about the entry into the RF world, or the radio frequency stuff. How did you get into that?
This came at the packet, when you start learning electronics.
Okay. And what
is part of the...
Yeah. I never learned this stuff. I only kind of figured it out or started to figure it out when I really stumbled on helium. I'd had a little exposure to it, 20 years ago. But so I'm not familiar with how it normally happens. So was there a radio, I don't know, subset of frequencies? Were you kind of a ham radio guy, or you just had to learn Wi-Fi, or you learned LoRa? Like, how did you get into, what was the entry point?
I am a ham radio guy.
Okay.
And, RF, when you start playing with transmitters, like FM transmitter and things like that, you learn.
Yeah.
Or like in the past, was VHF transmitters, television, all kind of stuff.
Yeah. And you're way into it. I don't have them with me. I got these, I think they're filters from Rockland. They sent me a couple to test. And I'm like, man, I should just send them.
What kind of filters?
Maybe, I don't know what they're little, do I have them here? I think I might have put them in my workshop.
Like bandpass
I think they're
filters?
bandpass filters, yeah. And Rockland's going to kill
Okay.
me for saying, like, I don't know what it is, but they just sent me these things. And, like, I should just send them to you because you seem like you're technically capable of testing these things.
You just need a vector network analyzer, and that's all. You can do it very easily.
Yeah. Now, I've seen you do it, but it's always like it's easy when you know how, right? So I've got the vector network analyzer, but I'm not really sure what I'm doing. Although I think you've got a video on how to do it.
You know, anything what you learn, actually maybe doesn't looks like it's useful, but it will help you in the future.
Yeah.
You know, that's how it is the life.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just constantly learning. And you're obviously super curious and learning. Is there a favorite thing that you have to work on? Like when a computer or some component comes into your shop, are you just like, oh my God, I love working on these things?
Not really. You know how much I work? I work like 3 hours per day, like 2-3 days per week. So I work less as possible.
Okay.
I'm not looking to make money. I'm just, enjoying the stuff at home, doing like helium, RF, testing different things.
Yeah. So that then takes us, so you're working, a couple hours a day, a couple days a week. That sounds like a pretty good deal. How did you get into helium? How did you stumble into it, or how did you find it?
You know what? I have a friend, Jason. He told me about the helium, but when he said, crypto and mining, I try to stay away.
Okay.
And after a few months, another friend comes to my shop and says, Sorin, I give you £100. Just let me put a helium miner on your garden. And from that point, I start studying these things and get into it.
Okay, so it like helium came to you because someone knew that you were maybe that you had a good location. Why did they come to your shop? You think you just had a location, or?
No, many people comes to a computer shop. Just maybe you have a friend, or maybe you want to host my miner.
Yeah. Okay. So you don't think they looked at you as a radio expert or an electronics expert? They're just like, oh, this is just another location to put it in.
No, I'm trying to avoid telling something like that to the people. If someone comes on the shop, I tell them I'm the guy who is cleaning the shop. I'm just passing to someone else, Nah.
Okay. Cool. So this guy comes in and says, hey, I'll give you £100 a month or whatever it was to put a helium miner in. And you start looking into it. And you're it sounds like a little bit like suspicious of cryptocurrency and mining. Like, what is this stuff?
You know what get me excited? Actually, the fact was no mining, was like RF, this comes back from the past. I built myself 2 networks, wireless networks.
Okay.
And and he's getting very excited when it's about this, especially so I was opportunity to do like wireless and make money on the same time, I was like, wow.
Yeah. What were the wireless networks that you built? Like, what did they look like?
Back in Romania, it's not like UK or America,
Yep.
So there the competition is free. So if I want to build my network, like an internet and network to sell the internet, I can do it. And, it's all about the price. And I built, the first network was like 200 users on the point where the Wi-Fi came on the market. And I sold a network, and I built another one, and it works like 5-6 years more.
Okay.
Yeah, I really love this stuff,
Yeah. It's
wireless, RF, servers, things like that.
And it's a fascinating thing. There's so many different pieces to it, right? There's the
but it's beautiful. I think that's the word.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's one of those things you discover that kind of wireless communication exists, and you can either ignore it and just use it and say, oh, I'm just going to use my phone or whatever, or you dive into it and you see just how deep it goes, and it's a pretty cool thing to. Yeah, it appears to be endless.
It's magic.
Yeah,
magic.
It is magic. It's super cool. Okay, so and then I think I've had a couple Romanian clients on the helium side, and if I'm remembering right, it's super fast internet there.
I think it's the number one country. I think it's the number one.
Yeah, it's
just because the competition was free. Everyone pumps up, and we end up with like 1 gig up down in order to stay on the market.
Dang. Okay, so the free market really pushed that to get down, because I think
yes, exactly.
And were you laying fiber or you were doing all wireless?
When
you were building?
back then,
Yeah.
back then I start with ISDN connection. You know the dial-up.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. After the dial-up, was ISDN.
Okay.
I think that's the name, before the ADSL.
Okay. Yep.
And I was proud to be the first having in my town 15 kilobits per second.
That was the big time.
That was an achievement. I made a party. So that was the point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man! And now, 15 kilobits per second will get you
Kilobits, not kilobytes. Yeah.
Kilobits. Okay. No, I always get confused by the difference. But it's not very much. It's nothing compared to what we have right now.
No, the real speed is like 3 kilobytes per second download, something like that.
Yeah, it's nothing. Oh, that's awesome. So you build that. You're super proud of it. You build a couple more. That's amazing. And then what brought you to England?
You remember the financial crisis on I think 2007 or 2008?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, the people didn't feel it outside of. I asked people around me here in the United Kingdom; they didn't feel it.
Right.
But back on my country, it was a disaster.
Yeah.
So I run like 10, 12 years a business. I have like I have three shops. One was with repairing TVs,
Mm-hmm.
one a phone shop, and another one I was a phone dealer. And when the financial crisis arrived, everything died. Like the people stopped buying, the people stopped fixing.
Yeah.
And that was the point where I started thinking going here. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And is that pretty easy to move from Romania to the UK? Is there a big
Nick, Romania is in Europe.
Okay. So you're good.
Yeah, you don't need anything.
Good. Super cool. Yeah. No, it's my American geography is sometimes staggeringly embarrassing. So sorry.
No, don't worry. No, it's okay. Yeah.
Okay. So you came to the UK and then you found another job doing the same kind of thing, and you said, okay, I'm not going to do my own business. I'm just going to work for someone else.
No. Sorry, I don't want my own business. I mean, when you have a business, you are the one which is working more. You know.
Yeah.
I have my family. I have kids. I want to spend the time with them. I'm not like. I don't really. I'm not a fan of the money. You understand? I don't want to get rich just to pay my rent, having food, something like that.
Sure. And then let's see. When did you start the YouTube channel? I mean, it's got 12,000 followers or subscribers right now. Like you must have been going for a little bit of time.
Which one? The Helium thing?
No, it's the electronic repair, right? Is it the?
Oh, okay, that channel of like 3-4 years ago.
Okay. Cool. So it's doing super well.
But just sharing repairs, just trying to teach people electronics.
Yeah. And I know when I first found you, I started looking into it because I think I found you, it came up from some Helium video and I was like, oh, what's this guy doing? What's his background? And I saw some of the repair videos and I'm like, oh my God, I can use these around the house. Like this is super helpful stuff. So thank you.
I tried doing Helium on my channel, but my community, they didn't want it.
Right.
And I had to start another channel.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, that's how you do it, is you got to respond to the market. So then you find Helium, you get your first hotspot. So you have that hotspot that was on your house. What happened to that one? That was the guy who came in and said, hey, I'll pay £100.
No. I said no.
You said no.
To that guy, I said no. Yeah. And I started studying exactly like in that point.
Okay. So you're like, if this is worth £100, yeah, I'm in.
Like half an hour, I told him, you know what, sell me your hotspot and, we are fine. But he didn't want to sell it. So I have to buy one from eBay.
Okay. So you buy one from, and when was that?
September last year.
September of 2021?
Yeah.
Okay. So they were down like reasonable prices then, not like they are now, but that was still, I don't know. What was it?
I paid like 1,500.
Yeah. £1,500. Okay.
Yeah.
If you would have found it 6 months earlier, it would have been $10,000. So you got a little bit of a discount, but it was also a different earning piece. So let's see, there's two parts when you come to Helium, where there's at least two parts. One of the parts is the RF side, which you're obviously expert in. right? As you're running your own wireless networks.
I'm not an expert, Nick. I'm just
come on, dude. Don't BS me. You obviously. I mean, I've talked to folks who I consider RF experts and who I've had significant exposure to, and they're like, "Oh yeah, Sorin totally knows his stuff when it comes to RF." So I consider you up with the best of them. So there's the RF side that you have a deep understanding of, and then there's the cryptocurrency side. Was this the first time that you had been exposed to cryptocurrency? Had you done anything with Bitcoin or Ethereum or anything else before Helium?
I have friends, but nothing personal. I always have like a bunch of friends. Sorry, buy now.
Yeah.
They said, no, I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a risk.
I'm not that on that age, and I'm not the money. I'm not making me. It's like
Yeah. Okay. So then you get Helium, and that is, I mean, that's the classic thing for a lot of Helium people. Is it's their first exposure to cryptocurrency. It's a really low barrier to entry. Despite the price of the miner, £1,500, 10,000, it's still cheaper than Bitcoin or Ethereum miner for the most part.
Yeah.
And then you start making HNT. And we all see the HNT, the price go up and down. It goes to 60. It comes down to whatever it is now, $8 or whatever it is in pounds. It goes all over the place, but it still feels like free money from the sky. You're just like, wow, this is amazing.
Well, it was free money from the sky, but not anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
The earnings are not that great on this point.
Right. Now it's changing. So there's two parts of that change, at least. One part is as more people come on the network, the pie, the pie is the same size. The slices just get smaller and smaller. And that, I think, coming into it with no kind of cryptocurrency background, maybe that was something that you had to figure out and learn. Because when we first come into crypto, it's like, oh my God, there's so much money to be made. And if you came in September or whatever it was still pretty profitable. But we're seeing it go down quite a bit. How much did you read about kind of the economic or the mining side of Helium versus the RF side?
What do you mean exactly?
When you discovered Helium, when you look at it, you're like, oh, this is cool. I know about RF. And you start deploying hotspots. How much time were you spending to see like, okay, how does the whole system work versus just saying, hey, I'm going to apply my expertise in RF to do the best kind of RF job I can, and I'll let the cryptocurrency side kind of sort itself out?
No, but I studied like about a week,
Yeah.
Spending time on the Discords, online, videos, YouTube.
Yeah. No,
you can learn quickly.
Yeah, no, you obviously a smart guy. So what was your thought in September? And I'll start off by saying that kind of rationally, I always knew that earnings were going to go down, but each time they do, and I see it in the wallet, it's always like an unpleasant surprise. You're like, man, I'm making a little bit less than I used to. And I remember back when, blah, blah, blah. What was your thought when you got into it? Did you think that in the long term, it was going to be kind of a consistent earner? Or did you see like, okay, this is going to last for whatever, 2 months, 6 months, a year, and then I'll have to find something else? What were you thinking then?
I really trust the project. I mean, on the paper, it's looking great.
Yeah.
On the paper.
Yeah.
And at some point, I even shared the picture. I was doing like $85 per day with one hotspot, which was insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was insane. I mean, it was absolutely, and the earlier you got into it, the more batshit crazy it was. And that to me was mostly a function of luck. Right. There were some people who they try really hard to keep their ear to the market and kind of see what the new thing is and pounce on it. But for a lot of us who found Helium, we found Helium through luck, right? Someone came into your store and asked you, hey, can I put a hotspot up? I found it. I was looking for something totally different. I was looking for how to find lost paragliders, and I find Helium. Like that wasn't something I planned. It's just luck for us.
But what about you when you found Helium?
August of 2020. So I was looking, I mean, you you probably know a lot more about this than I do.
2020 is now, Nick.
What's that?
2020.
2020, yeah. No. So it's a year and a half ago, something like that.
2020. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
My fault.
Yeah. So I had been looking for another.
So you came very earlier on the project, right?
Relatively, yeah. Yeah, there's certainly, I think of the OGs, the earliest people were in late 2019 December. I forget when they kicked it off, but that was about when they did the launch of the hotspots. And one thing that's amazing to me is when they first started selling hotspots, and Helium did it. They sold the first run, Helium Inc. There were incentives to go along to encourage people to buy hotspots because people weren't buying them. So they would give you cookies if you bought hotspots, which is, now to us, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, so I don't know, 10 months after they launched, I stumbled on it. I was, like I said, I was looking for a way to find a paraglider who had been lost in the desert up in Nevada. And I found LoRa, and I had never heard of LoRa before. So I looked into LoRa, and there's a project. Have you seen Meshtastic?
Not really.
Okay. It's a project.
What is about?
It's a LoRa network where you can build a bunch of small radios and create your own, what do they call it? Mesh network. So if you and I and 10 other of our buddies go out for a hike, we can have our own Meshtastic radios, and we've got our own network. So even if the cell system goes down or anything goes down, it will pass information between us. And even if I'm out of communication or LoRa communication with you, as long as there's people between us, those messages will hop along that network and we can communicate. So we could be on either side of a mountain range. And as long as there's, people around that range that can basically pass it on, we're fine. So that was the first exposure I had to LoRa, and I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. And then I saw the Helium thing, and I was like, well, I've seen crypto before. I'm gonna check this out. And probably like you see it, and you see a hotspot near you. I'm guessing this is what you saw, right? And you look at that, and you're like, okay, I can do math. That thing is earning X amount of HNT per day. HNT is worth whatever it's worth. Like you said, $85 a day. You're a fool not to buy a hotspot, right?
Yeah. Well, it was just like few days, and it was like only few days.
Yeah.
Then comes down.
Yeah. Then
anyway, it was like average, like 40, 50.
Yeah. No, that's a good living. And I made this mistake when I started. I remember, I talk to myself all the time. Like people, I imagine my neighbors are like, that guy's always talking to himself, because I go walk the dogs and I'll have a conversation with myself. And I remember walking around the house or walking around the neighborhood. At the time, a Helium miner was making 100 to 120 HNT a day. And so I would just be mumbling to myself, like, okay, 100 HNT times, $2 per HNT, that's $120, or sorry, $200 a day. Like I'm going to pay this, and this. And by the end of the year, I'm going to pay everything off and be a millionaire. And just like everyone else, as more people hear about it, there's a giant incentive to join the network. More people join the network. The pie gets split into smaller and smaller slices. And so fast forward, whatever it is, 2 months, 4 months, 10 months, 2 years, or a year and a half. And now we're at what is like a great miner right now will make 1 HNT a day. And we can probably throw out the last week and a half, the transition to Light Hotspots. But before then, even a really good miner was still probably like 0.7 HNT a day.
What is average right now on the network? I think it's pretty low, like 0.1 or something like that.
Yeah, 0.098, I think, is the global average.
Insane.
So yeah, it's low. It's low for sure. And you can see that on Dave Akers runs heliumanalytics.io. And as long as the ETL is up, which it's been up and down lately, so it's not always up, but you can see what the global average is at any given time. And that's been super helpful for me to look at and say, okay, I'm doing, right at or above the average. Okay, so I think that brings us up to kind of speed on who you are and how you found the network. What I'd like to dig into right now is how you're approaching Helium. Is that you've got a different approach than kind of let's say like me, like a Helium fanboy, where I'm like, oh, I want to make the network awesome, and I want to earn money. Is you've come in and said, look, I'm not breaking any rules. I'm not breaking any laws. I want to make money. That's my goal. Am I understanding that right? Or is there like a missing piece to that?
You see, you initially didn't come from the money, yeah, right?
Correct, yeah.
I didn't come from the money. I just, love the stuff.
Yeah.
But most of the people, they actually are here for the money.
Sure. Yep.
And, this is a sad point where you see the earnings are going down and you have a fixed amount which is distributed every day.
Yep.
And I cannot get like friends. I cannot tell them anymore, oh, jump in because it's okay.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So, and I should be super clear on that, is I found helium because I was looking for a solution to something else. But there's no denying that I got into it in large part because I saw a guy down the street was making a boatload of HNT, and I thought, well, I could be that guy too. Right? Let's make sure that it's like I didn't get into this for altruistic reasons only. I thought it was a cool thing. And as I've gone further, I think both just to be a part of new technology is really exciting, and also to have what you might call exposure to the upside of helium, right? Because I don't think helium will always be $8 or $9 or whatever it is today. I think we're going to see HNT go somewhere between $60 and $1,000 sometime in the next 2 years. That's just what I think, and it will, because you don't make actual dollars, you make HNT. As long as you hold on to it, 0.1 HNT today might end up being $100 a day. And for those of us,
that's what the people in Luna did. Just hold on until the everything goes to zero. So
well, I hope
you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think this is kind of an interesting piece, is that I've got faith in the network, but that faith may be misplaced. I might be wrong, and it could be, as you said, it could be like Luna, could all go to zero. I don't think so, but I guess that's probably where I should start. Is what do you think? Like, where do you see the Helium network going over the next 1, 5, or the 20 years?
Oh, I don't see it. I'm sorry, but based on the things going, the earnings are going down. I don't see it. But what I see is the 5G. So 5G really, is getting me excited. The 5G.
Ah, okay. So the LoRa side, you're like, that's pretty much done.
I can't see how the things can come back, like how it was in the past, to get the people excited. I mean, I look even on my channel, people are not that.
No, they're not, because I mean, the earnings were insane for a while, so I can see why it was so exciting. And then I think like the kind of the whole structure is set now, so people can understand how you're approaching helium. But one of the things that you did that was super controversial was you said, okay, what can I do to maximize the earnings of my miner? And you took the RF expertise and you're like, well, what happens if I add 2 antennas or 2 miners on 1 antenna? Like, walk me through what you were thinking there and how you were thinking of how that affected the network or you, either one.
Yeah, Nick, you know how it is when you know what you are doing. Yeah, let's say you are a doctor, you see a patient and you see what the problem, you know from before.
Yeah.
You know what's the issue there. So when I see something like any electronic device, not only a helium miner, I can see where the manufacturer cut corners. So do you trust the manufacturers? Tell me, Nick, be honest and tell me if you trust the manufacturers.
Yeah, I think some of them are good. Some of them are definitely
some
not.
Are good. Yeah. Okay, what about Apple? Apple is good?
Apple? I would think Apple is good, but again...
Oh, okay. Well, one second, Nick, one second. Then 1 second. So this is my recording laptop, yeah? So I have 1 dongle here, and I have 2 more here because the manufacturer, trusting the manufacturer. So I have to buy 3 dongles to have 3 USBs.
Yeah.
You can believe that?
Yeah, no, I totally
So the manufacturer knows what is better for me?
Yeah. No, and I think this is really important, Sorin, is that you've got this expertise that a lot of us don't have, right? I don't have that. Like, I've had cable, just like everyone. I've had cables go out and you just buy another cable and not sure why it doesn't work or why some port doesn't work or what it was. In fact, just the other day, I got this thing and plugged in headphones to it and it didn't work. And if I was you, I probably would have taken it apart and been like, oh, here's where the manufacturer cut a corner. Here's where they didn't do a good solder job, or here's where they did X, Y, and Z. But being a kind of a normal consumer, I was just like, well, shit, the thing doesn't work. I'm just going to send it back to Amazon and have them replace it. So what you're saying is you got the Helium Hotspot. You must have immediately taken it apart when you got it.
Yeah, obviously.
What were the first things what was the first hotspot that you got?
Sensecap. I still have it.
You still have the Sensecap. And what? Yeah. What did you see on that right away?
The first moment, I didn't understand why. How can I explain it to you? the Helium is on 868 here or 925, right?
Yep.
Now we are selling Nokia phones for £20 at where I work.
Yep.
We are buying for 15. Now, a hotspot is doing anything more compared with a Nokia phone. I mean, it's same thing, 900 megahertz, duplex, same thing.
Yep.
But the phone has a screen, has a battery.
Yeah.
So why a phone is like £15 and a hotspot is like, is that expensive?
Yeah. No,
make you thinking.
I don't know. So what does it make you think? Because I think I understand it, but I'd like to understand what you're thinking.
Okay, you know what? The hotspots were mining. I can understand that. But now the Light Hotspots comes out, yeah?
Yep.
And they are the same. They are around 200.
Probably more.
I mean, I can't see, and I swear, I can't see a difference between a cheap £15 phone, and a Light Hotspot.
Right.
I can't see a difference.
What about this? So I think the difference is, and I'll get crucified here by the people who actually know what they're talking about, is this this security chip side, right? And if we think of it, if we back way out and we think of the network itself, is because there's so much H&T, and we'll just call it money for now, even though it's not technically. There's so much H&T or money to be made by hacking in and by gaming the network.
Okay.
Is there?
Okay. Nick, you see like a product. You know, I see chips. Chips. That chip. I know how much it costs. I know. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's nothing expensive there.
So why do you think it's so expensive?
That's what I'm asking you. Maybe you know more. You are more like a Helium guy. I'm more like a RF guy.
Yeah. I mean, my understanding is that there's a giant demand for those chips, and specifically for one, I don't know, special chip. It's again outside my expertise, and that's what drives the price up. Just like everything else, everybody wants the same car or wants the same phone. Probably. We spend more and more money on some phone, right? The Nokia versus the iPhone. I'm sure there's a price difference there. If you can get iPhones for $15, we should talk more about that. Right? Do you think that's the same thing, or do you think something else is going on?
Something else about what?
As far as why do you think the hotspot price is so high?
I don't know, Nick. That's why I ask you. I mean, I can't see, from an electronic point of view,
right?
Why they are so expensive. But I did understand about the normal hotspots, but the light one I can't understand. So I know what is inside. There should be like 15-20 pounds. I don't understand why they are more expensive.
Yeah,
because the price, it will keep the people away.
Yeah, and let's see. If we think about this in a couple different ways, that one way is we stay right in the moment. Today is May 18th, 2022, and hotspots are still, I don't know, $400 to $800 depending on where you're buying them. If we fast forward 3 months and H&T is still at $9 or $10, I'm guessing we're going to see hotspots on eBay, maybe not down at the $15 level, but probably $100 or less, right? People are going to be like, okay, I got what I needed out of this. I'm going to move on. If we see H&T going up, there's going to be more pressure to buy hotspots, and they'll be more expensive. It seems pretty straightforward to me that standard kind of supply and demand. But are you saying that it's not supply and demand, that this chips, I don't know, if you were a manufacturer and you could buy a product at whatever you're thinking the chip price is, which you're thinking is whatever, probably $10 or $15 to manufacture, and you could sell it at $200, or you could sell it at $20, what would you sell it at? If people are going to buy from you either way.
I'm a different kind of monster, Nick. But I never understood why a minor radio card is $100, so or £100.
Right.
Why? It's you have their components for £5. What's the reason why that radio card is $100?
Right. Do you think you could build the Helium? You could build you go through the HIP-19 process and build hotspots for way cheaper?
But I'm not into that. You're not building things. No.
Okay. So just outside your expertise. So you're kind of looking at the pieces and you're saying, okay, I know what these pieces are individually, but to put them together, that's outside of what you do. Is that right?
No, I mean, it's very simple. Buy the chip, things like design. I didn't do design.
Right. Okay. Cool. Uh,
But it's nothing complicated there. Trust me, a phone is more complicated compared with a hotspot.
With a hotspot. Yeah. I'm going to get smashed by the Helium technophiles for not knowing this better. So yeah, let's go back to the two antennas, one minor, or what was it? One good antenna, two minors. So you had this idea, like what happens if I put in two minors in one spot and have one antenna? Did I get that right? Or I got it backwards?
Nick, I have no idea. You understand? If I will be from what I want to do on my channel is to play games. But my community is asking me, Sorin, we want this.
Yeah.
And if they ask me, I have to do it. You know what I mean? You are a content creator. You know how these things work.
Sure.
When the community is asking for something, you have to do it.
Yeah.
So I have to test.
Yeah. And I think that's a super important piece. I should probably be better about that. I think I'm getting right now requests for, as funny as it sounds, can you do a video so I can explain Helium to my neighbor? Like a very basic, what is Helium video? And that's what a lot of folks are asking for. I'm just like, I'm not interested in that. I'll do it, like you said, because you kind of want to serve the folks that are supporting you. But so let's go back to the testing side. So your community says, hey, you're an RF guy. Like, how did the request come through? Did someone say, hey, Sorin, I'm doing this. Does this sound right? Or did they say, like, how can I earn more HNT using your RF knowledge? Like, how did you kind of come to that place?
No, I'm never getting question like, how can I earn more HNT? I'm getting question like, how can I get more witnesses?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's what everyone is asking. Sorry, what can I do? I need a better coverage. I need more witnesses.
Yeah.
I don't have.
Yeah.
Now the people are not saying, okay, how can I do to earn more?
Right.
No, not really. But probably that's the point.
Yeah. Totally, they want to earn
probably
more.
That's
okay,
the
so
point.
You're kind of backing into it by saying, like, all right, let's not focus on earning. And this is your perspective, is let's focus on the radio performance. Is how do we make a radio perform better?
Yeah. How can we fix what the manufacturer, where the manufacturer screwed up? So
Right.
how we can fix that? Something like that.
Yep. And there were, there were 3 ways that you did that. So there was like the filtering of the signal was one way. So getting a cleaner signal. And then that was on the receiving side. Is that right? That was the first way?
It's all about the receiving.
Right. And not about the transmitting. So walk me through then the amplifier piece, because there's a receiving and a transmitting side on that. But obviously the receiving side is better. How did you?
Yeah, the transmitting usually is bypass on amplifiers, because it's illegal to. So the amplifiers, they are bypassing the takes. But the idea is very simple. Yep. The idea of using an amplifier, it's in the same way, and I swear it's nothing more than like how the people was using amplifiers for televisions like 15 years ago.
Sure.
Same thing, is nothing else. Yep. So I have a bunch of cable where I'm losing a lot of decibel, and when you say decibel, you say witnesses.
Yeah.
So I did test on one of my video when the network was still working, fine.
Yeah.
And I had like 30% more witnesses.
Yeah.
I think that was the point where the people really understand what's happening with the amplifiers.
Yeah.
But nothing else, just trying to compensate some losses.
Right. I can totally see it where you come into it, and the goal for the average person, and certainly it sounds like this is your goal as well, is like, hey, I'm here to make HNT. Right. That's why I'm doing this. And let's not beat around the bush or dance around the idea like, I'm not here to build like a giant decentralized wireless network. That's exciting. That's cool. But most people are here to earn HNT. And so you say, okay, well, you can earn more HNT by witnessing more. And so let me show you how to witness more.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I can see that. Point, yeah. Where do you come in? And I think on the like amplifying the receiving signals side, that seems totally reasonable. But what about putting the 2 minors in with the 1 antenna? Like how are you thinking that through?
That's how I'm testing, when I'm testing things. Yeah, I'm testing 2 minors.
Yeah.
If you use two antenna, you'll get nothing, But using one antenna, you're 100% sure the signal is the same on the both miners.
Yep.
So in this way, you can test different things like amplifiers, like filters, like splitters, like anything. Miners,
Yeah. Okay.
You can test them because they are getting same signal. It's not about, hacking the network or no.
Yeah. Although, Sorin, you got to admit that like what you're doing is showing people in some way, it's showing people how to game, right? Like what you're doing is
how to game.
Yeah.
How is that, Nick?
Well, yeah.
Because you provide coverage, yeah?
What?
Right?
Nah, but think about this. So tell me this, if you're providing coverage and you're a wireless network operator, and it sounds like you've done that, would you put two antennas to do the same thing on the same tower?
No, well, we'll put one antenna and more devices.
And more devices to hear it. Now,
antenna is doing the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. So you got one antenna.
It's a passive device.
Yeah, yeah. So you put the antenna up, and then you'd put more devices in. So you're telling me that cell operators will put up, or whatever, radio, not wireless network operators will put up one antenna, and they'll put in redundant radios to hear that antenna's whatever receive transmission.
Nick, we're going back on the same point. People ask, if the community asking, they ask me crazy stuff like, okay, Sorin, can you try a free antenna with one miner, or you can try, crazy things.
Yeah.
And the problem is when I have like 20 people asking me same crazy thing, I have to do it.
Yeah, it's you're in a tight spot, right? Because you know how to do it. You probably know how to do it safely, where you're not going to fry the electronics or hurt yourself. But at the same time, when you show people that, if we look at how does that work how does that affect the health of the network? If it's just you testing, it doesn't, right? There's 800,000 hotspots, an extra 2 or 3, no big deal. But if that information on how to do that, which is not providing any additional coverage, it's just earning extra HNT, it's basically draining HNT out of the rest of the network. And again, one person, 2 radios, 1 antenna, not a big deal. But you got 12,000 followers on one of the channels, you got thousands of followers on the other. That's a potentially kind of damaging to the network. Kind of walk through how you approach that with your audience. Are you putting things out there that says like, hey, this is what I'm doing, you shouldn't do it? Or you're just saying like, hey, I'm just telling you, like, this is what you asked for, I'm gonna do whatever it is that you ask?
Nick, this kind of question are like over me. It's, what can I say? How the LoRa is working, it's same like Wi-Fi. Yeah. And people think, okay, if you use one antenna, you are doing the same job, and it's not right. I made a video about this. LoRa has using channels. Yeah, indeed, there is a duty filling factor. But anyway, when a channel is full, it's dead. You can't use it on the how let's say 3-4 miles the coverage. Yeah, on that coverage, if that channel is full, it's bye. It's same like wireless. It's nothing else.
Yeah.
But of course, here is the transmission time, and it's a little bit different, but still the same. So even 2 miners using same antenna, they are still 2 miners, providing different coverage. I mean, from my point of view, but I'm not promoting things like that. Yeah, I'm just testing stuff and post on YouTube.
I don't know
if the people they want to use it or not. That's up to them. But
nah, I don't.
If you see a video on YouTube with someone playing with a gun, you'll do the same. No, it's just a video.
I mean, I can see that. I can see that as the defense. The side I see is you're, like I said, you're in a tight spot, right? Is you know how to do this stuff. You're getting asked to do it. It's not illegal. It's not like the police are going to come to your door and say like, you've got extra HNT you shouldn't have. But at the same time, to me, it's and just this is how I see it, Sorin, is it's encouraging like an unhealthy growth of the network, where it's allowing people to do that. And so that, help me understand why you're not seeing it like that.
You know how it is, Nick. Let's say my garden, is my garden, and I will sell it if I can use the hotspots there, because that's the price. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, you totally can make your own decision. I mean, that's one of the really neat things about these decentralized networks is there's no centralized governing body. There's nothing, the Helium Inc., neither or the Helium Foundation or Nova Labs or anyone. No one can come and say, "Hey, I think you're doing the wrong thing," to an individual and turn their hotspots off. But the only thing that can happen is if, like we just saw with Deeper, if a manufacturer participates in kind of industrial or institutional gaming, you can stop them from adding new hotspots to the network. But that's it. So it's
Nick. It's a very simple solution. Yeah. If the Helium want to stop something like that, like in the game industry, any VPN is banned, so you cannot use a VPN. Okay. Very simple. You cannot use two miners on the same internet connection, but always was possible to use two miners on the same internet connection. Doesn't matter if it's relayed or not.
Right.
So if they didn't try to stop it, then it's fine. Even now with the validators, they can add a rule and, okay, we can accept the connection from one miner using one IP, not two miners using the same IP address. But it's not. Even now it's working, using more miners on the same internet connection.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, it's super curious. Like, how is the whole thing going to shake out? And really, how do the incentives line up, right? If the incentives line up to encourage people to add two miners to one IP address or add two miners to one location, we're going to see some certain percentage of the population do that for sure, right? 100%. That's just what humans do, is they chase the money.
Some times ago I said it because the people, start accusing me about the same thing. Like, okay, you're destroying the network, amplifiers and antenna and range, and the Helium doesn't need range. It's very simple. Just limit the range to 10 miles, and no one ever it will use a big antenna or amplifier. It's no point. For 10 miles, I will use a 3 decibel antenna.
Oh, interesting. So you're thinking that, because we just put through the HEP that was the 100-kilometer max, which is what, 60 miles?
Yeah, they put a 100-kilometer limit now.
And were you happy with that? Or were you like,
I can bet it will be tighter on the future.
Yeah. No, it's where do you think it should reasonably go down to? Do you think 10 miles should be the limit?
Nick, you are thinking from the point of view of someone living in a big city, but what about on the other sides where actually are not Helium miners?
No, I'm with you on this.
They have to provide coverage.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% with you on this.
I mean, it's good for Helium. It's not about it's good for him.
Yeah,
he's a lonely wolf.
Yeah.
He needs a big antenna, a big Yagi amplifiers to reach someone to provide some coverage.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're right?
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I've got hotspots on top of mountains, and I don't think there's.
Well, you see?
And now there's an antenna. When I put it up, there wasn't an antenna within 10 miles.
You see?
So yeah, I think this 100-kilometer limit is probably a good one, and we don't need to revisit that. Although I'm seeing in the comments from the Gristle crew is that Russ is saying rural areas need 100 miles of transmission. I don't know. So Sorin, let me ask you this: do you think you can get a reliable LoRa link over 100 miles? Is that something that you'd reliably count on?
You can get a reliable LoRa link in like 2,000 miles.
But reliable or like a one-time shot? Like if you were...
It can happen, like sporadic... the solar explosion thing, the way how the ham radius they are speaking over the continents,
Yeah. But for something
1,000 of miles, so can happen.
Totally, it can happen. But if
probably
if you have to measure it and you have to rely on it every 10 minutes, I wouldn't rely on a sensor that's 100 miles away. Is where I'm going with it.
Yeah,
I don't know. Would you? Do you think that?
Yeah, I showed the video like last week. I have a connection 200 kilometers from Belgium.
Yeah, but it's not reliable.
It was invalid, obviously, now because it was over 100 kilometers.
Yeah. Let's see. So let's go back to this thing of where do you see helium going in the future? Like how fast? You've said like, oh, it's going to go away. How fast do you think it'll go away?
I don't know, Nick. I'm just, I'm nobody. I'm a guy. I'm a RF guy. I'm not even, I'm not excited about crypto. I'm excited about helium. RF things. Having a good setup, good antenna things. I'm checking. I'm testing. That's all. It's nothing more. Nothing more than that.
Yeah.
But to predict something, what can I say? I'm going with the people.
I think
no, really, you can predict, Nick. Just tell me if you can predict. Just say, what do you think will happen?
Here's what I think will happen. I think Helium will go through. So today's May 18th. I think we're not going to see the network settle down until early June. I think we're going to see a lot of people really upset because they either haven't taken the time or they don't want to, or it's just like they don't have the time to understand why this is happening, right? This transition to light hotspots, they don't want to understand, or they don't want to go into it. And I get it. There's lots of things that I don't want to understand that I'll just complain about, like parking spaces or traffic lights or traffic jams, right? There's reasons for all of these things, but sometimes you just look at it and you're like, why am I stuck in this traffic? But I think this, however you think of this traffic jam, this thing that is light hotspot transition is probably going to take another 2 or 3 weeks to get through. Hopefully I'm wrong and it won't take as long, but.
Okay, but what happened after? I mean, even before, the people wasn't happy about the earnings.
Yeah.
So what do you think it will be changed?
Yeah, no, I think earnings are going to go down per hotspot. In fact, I don't think that, I guarantee that. That's 100% guarantee is that earnings will go down per hotspot. What the effect of that is, I don't know. I think we're pretty close to a balance, right? Where you've got people saying, well, I'm just going to unplug my hotspot. And if we think about it, every time someone unplugs their hotspot, the slice of the pie gets a little bit bigger for everyone else because now we're not splitting it so many ways. I think we're pretty close to that equilibrium where as people unplug their hotspots, new people are going to, put hotspots online.
That's pretty sad, Nick. I mean, I have to unplug my hotspot for you to earn more.
No, you don't have to. So I think that's the thing is that every time, you or anyone unplugs their hotspot, I don't know if you have this expression in Romania, but you're cutting off your nose to spite your face, right? So you're doing yourself a disservice. You might as well leave it plugged in, and the better the coverage you're providing, the more incentive there is for you to leave it plugged in.
Why is not happening how the MXC is doing? Like the price of the crypto is going down, the earnings are going up. What do you think about that, Nick?
On MXC? So I think in the big picture, my ignorance on MXC is stunning. I know almost nothing about the project, so I would be pretty careful about what I'm going to say about that. But if we talk about Helium and we talk about the stuff that I'm familiar with, is Helium it's a cryptocurrency. Almost all cryptocurrencies, with a few temporary exceptions, are coupled fairly tightly to the big ones, to Bitcoin and to Ethereum. So when we see Bitcoin and Ethereum go up, HNT goes up. If we see them go down, HNT goes down. What I think will happen, back to your question, is at some point within probably the next year, and it depends totally on how quickly the Helium Foundation signs agreements with the major carriers to do the 5G roaming. When that happens, the value of HNT will decouple from Bitcoin, from the kind of crypto market, and will start to go up and be valued as its own coin. And when it does that, it will be the first coin that I know of, the first token that I know of that is decoupled from the general cryptocurrency ecosystem. And that, I think that is going to be tremendously exciting. Not financial advice, but I think we're going to see a really big change in the price and in the interest in the project when that happens. Now, obviously, I'm a Helium maximalist, so
your advice is to keep the HNT and don't exchange it?
I'll tell you what I'm doing. I don't know all the laws on this stuff, but they say you can't give financial advice. So I'll just tell you what I'm doing. I'm not selling any of my HNT, and right now I'm buying it with every extra penny that I've got.
Really?
Yeah. That's my thing, because it's down about as low as it's been in the last year. And if we think about where it could go. So if Helium Foundation kind of gets this right, and we get Verizon or T-Mobile or AT&T or whatever's over in Europe to sign on as a 5G side, and or we also get LoRa companies to sign on and use this, what is now the largest LoRa network in the world, we're going to see a change in price. It's going to be as if you're buying stock in a company, in a wireless company, and those things are pretty profitable. So that's what I think. But again, I'm a fan.
I'm waiting for the 5G, Nick. I told you.
Yeah.
Looks like it's already there.
It's coming. It's going to come for you guys. I think it's going to happen kind of slowly and then all at once. So
you got one? You bought a 5G miner?
I got given one. Hang on one second. So I'm seeing Russ has got a question in the chat on what size SD card is needed for the Light Hotspot replacements. And Russ keeps asking me this, and I'm like, just wait before you do any replacement. Should be pretty low, but I'd love to hear your answer on that, Sorin. Like, what size SD card will you put into your hotspots for your Light Hotspots?
Oh, but I don't know. 128 should be more than enough. I mean, any size should be more than enough because the hotspots are deleting the. But now it's not even point because they are not mining. They are not following the blockchain. So I can't see the point.
It should be super
the original.
Small.
Yeah,
should be super small.
I mean, I never have issue with my miners.
No, mine have stayed up pretty well as well. They followed the rest. They followed the kind of averages. Generally,
but it happened like for you to stop working because you didn't clean up the SD card.
No, I got lucky, Sorin. When I found Helium, it would have been the perfect time for you to find it as well because they had the DIY program open and you could do exactly what you were talking about.
I read about that. Yeah, very nice. Very nice.
Which is super, super cool. So, and I'd I'll make this offer to you, but it'll come with a caveat I don't think you'll take, is I'm happy to transfer one of those miners over to you if you want to test and experiment on it and check it out. I've got more miners than frankly I need, and that might allow you to do some cool stuff. But the caveat would be is you couldn't share anything that would help people game the system. So if you can live with that and you just learn, I'm happy to send one of those things to you because it's just it's not an alpha code. It's it basically would be like transferring it to your wallet. I'd show you how to do it. Not that I need to show you anything. But yeah, so if you just want to learn and you're willing to say like, yep, I'm not going to do anything to do with using this knowledge to help other people understand how to game the system, I'd love to send one of those over to you. I think you'd be a great addition to the kind of knowledge base and poking around inside one of those things. It may not be that useful to you, but the offer's there if you want.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Thank you, Nick.
Let's go. So back to the 5G. So Bobcat sent me a Bobber 500 and the Freedom Fi radio. I forget what the radio is. And so I'm busy setting it up in the office right now.
And?
It's interesting. I think the first really interesting point for me was that, and you probably will laugh at this, is I didn't understand how much power the new LoRa kind of / mining unit would draw. So the 5G radio, you can run that on PoE. You can run that on, I think PoE, like normal Cat 5 can run 30 watts. But the miner, you have to run its PoE++. So it pulls 12 volts, 5 amps. So 60 watts, which is much more than is normal. So what I'm finding is that I've got to buy a special, or actually I'm having a buddy of mine, the gray hat guy. He's building me a splitter because I've got an injector that can push it in. I've got a little ubiquity switch that'll push that 60 watts out. But that was like the first interesting thing. It was like, okay, we're leveling up our game as far as power requirements.
Yeah, but no one is doing it. So I search on YouTube. There's no content about the 5G on YouTube. I mean, because the 5G you need, to check the amplifiers, antenna, whatever you can improve, things like that. No one is doing it.
No.
And we don't have 5G here.
Dude, come over. I've got one of these things. Yeah.
Start doing it, Nick.
Yeah. So maybe what we can figure out then is how I do like a directed video. Because I can open it. I've opened it up and showed the inside, the guts on it, but I don't know what I'm looking at. I'm looking at like green boards and computer parts where you might see like, oh, this is exactly what it is. So maybe we do a cool like piece where you're like, hey, undo that thing and put these wires on there and tell me what you see. I think it's pretty exciting stuff to see all that.
5G is nice. I think it's on 3.5 gig, which is, is nearly Wi-Fi. I mean,
what is it? It's, oh my God, Dennis and Jeremy are going to kill me for that.
It's between 2.4 and 5 gig. Yeah. So 2.4 and 5 gig is Wi-Fi, and 5G it's of 3.5 gig.
Yeah. I think it's 3.5, 3.75 or something that 2 point something to 3.55. I should know that, but yeah.
Somewhere there. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a tight little piece.
So it's something else compared with LoRa. The propagation is different. You need a different stuff, and there are so many nice stuff.
Yeah,
which can be used on the
so that's 5G thingy. Great next piece, Sorin, is when 5G kind of is available to you in the UK. What plans do you have for deploying 5G hotspots, if any?
I'm more excited than compared with the Helium, you know?
Really?
It's like, yeah, it's close to what I did before, like Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And on that time, Wi-Fi was playing on the same, you know, amplifier, antenna, building antenna, things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of beautiful stuff you can test.
Yeah. So I like that. I like the caveat that you can test. So what are the big problems that you see coming down the pipe with 5G? And really
the problem.
Yeah.
The 5G is like laser, you know, it's not like 900 megahertz, which is getting reflected, and but 3.5 gig is kind of like laser, you know, and you start having troubles with the Fresnel zone, and different calculation comes on every link, you know. It'll be nice. It are a lot, you know, to be learned about how the things are working there. Yeah.
That's interesting. So what do you think, like for someone like me who doesn't have the technical background, what do you think the problems are that I'm going to hit as I deploy a 5G miner? What do you expect people
The Fresnel zone, that was the first. So the Fresnel zone, you can have a surprise to have a connection and you have no traffic or no speed, nothing. You can have a surprise.
The Fresnel zone it's that idea of like a cone, looks like a football from the side.
Yeah.
And so what you're saying is on, let's say, one side here, if the antenna is on that side, is you may have kind of traffic in this area above it that you'll completely miss, but you think you should hit.
No, if the Fresnel zone is covered, like let's say for 40% up,
okay,
you have no traffic. So actually, the waves are not going like laser; they are going like that, you know, like, and you have to calculate that that space, which is called Fresnel zone.
Yeah,
but I'm not sure how what will happen with the 5G.
Right.
But if the speed matter, then a lot of nice things it'll comes on, you know, to be calculated when you are installing a hotspot.
Yeah. So I mean, what are the kind of average speeds that you're getting where you are, kind of up down when you're connected to your modem runner?
I have like 1 gig.
1 gig up and down, symmetrical?
No, 1 gig down and probably like 50 up.
Okay.
50 megabits per second.
Yeah, that seems pretty fast. I think it's probably faster than what I've got at the office. So that'll be good for 5G because you should be processing a lot of traffic. Do you see that for the average person who is they're not even going to know that the Fresnel zone exists? When they get their hotspot and they deploy it, what kind of questions do you think that your audience is going to be asking you about what they should test?
I would think they will start having connection with no speed. That's like a beginner mistake. Okay. So you actually be, okay, I seen that antenna.
Yep.
Yeah, from the front. Oh, I'm fine. It's not. Yeah. So you can have you have a beautiful connection with full signal, and you actually have no speed. You can't even ping that hotspot.
And what's the
just because of the Fresnel zone? You know, it's.
And that's a physical place in space related to the antenna. So you'd have to move. So you could be seeing what looks like a strong connection, but you don't have the connection, and you could move 30 feet to the right or left or whatever and have a better connection. Or am I not understanding that right?
Yeah. So you have to place your hotspot on different positions, and you know, on the Helium, I didn't want to start video. I swear I wanted, but I avoided.
Okay.
So you can have a lot of hotspots, and the people are thinking to use SIM cards with 3G and 5G, but that's not the way how you are doing it. You are using you are using access points. Yeah, you have an access point, and you can send internet anywhere. You can be your own provider. You have 10 hotspots around in your town. Just use one access point, and then you have access point clients all over where you have the Helium miners, and that's how you send the internet everywhere.
Oh, let me make sure.
But I didn't want to go that deep on because it's same thing. It's providing internet. Yeah, it's. First, you have to provide internet to your miner. That's the first thing. Yeah.
Yep. So, I could probably get a lot deeper into that than I can even ask intelligent questions. But that's an interesting.
Yeah, but you have your miners. Yeah.
Yep.
How do you get internet there?
The off-grid ones are a cell backhaul, and the ones that are connected to the house or the office are through an Ethernet cable.
Of course, yeah.
Yep.
But if you don't, it's very simple to install an access point and send signals from anywhere.
Okay, so you're going to run what's called, is that called point to point? Is that what you guys call it?
Yeah. No, but you can install an access point on the middle of the town, and then you have clients. Yeah, you have clients, and they're very cheap right now.
Oh,
I
interesting.
think so. Ubiquiti. I was using Ubiquiti and MikroTik before.
Yep.
Very good and cheap stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. So you're thinking that you're going to have one radio and then you'll install multiple antennas. Those antennas will report back through the access through, is it through the point to point to an access point that's connected to your radio?
It's point to multi-point.
Point to multi-point. Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah, like anyone can do it. Just install an Omni on the top of the building and you have internet everywhere in the town, everywhere in the range of 10 kilometers.
Yeah. So that's why you're
Even
excited
more.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it will be a lot work to do.
Yeah. And do you think you're going to do it? Are you going to order a 5G hotspot and deploy?
100%. I will buy the first one, which will be possible. Doesn't matter how much it will cost.
Really? So you're totally confident that the 5G Helium stuff is going to be great. You're not confident at all about the LoRa side.
It's something what I did,
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. So
because the frequency is different. So 900 megahertz is completely different, and it's very friendly. 900 megahertz, you don't need anything, It's so friendly.
Yep.
Compared with that frequency, which is,
Yeah, I mean, so that's a good point. So we got a question in the chat about the Fresnel zone. And I think I've heard it say pronounced Fresnel, but Fresnel, because I don't know the difference. Fresnel zone on 900 is nothing. Like it,
nearly nothing. Yeah.
You could be next to it. You could be up above it.
You don't have that much data to transfer.
Right. Okay. So the more data that you have, the more kind of critical that zone becomes.
Yeah, because the channel is filling up, and you need clear Fresnel to transfer the speed.
Okay. Huh. That's interesting. So talk me through then what you're thinking of when it comes to like, why are you so excited about 5G, even if you're not psyched on Helium? Just because you're going to be earning in data credits and so it doesn't matter?
Oh, so you're earning data credits. Yeah. I heard about a new coin coming with the 5G.
Yeah, that's the discussion right now, is that there's what is thought to be happening.
That's nice.
It should be cool, right? Nice. So it should be like HNT, as I'm understanding, is kind of the layer one, and then the different pieces will have different coins or different flavors or variations on that. So
I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be super exciting. Well, that's cool to see that you're excited about it. So, because what I was thinking going into this in the first part of the conversation, where you're like, "No, Helium is dead," is what you're saying, and it's like
I'm not saying the Helium is dead. It's just I can't get the people excited anymore.
Right. Oh, tell me about your proof of luck thing. That seemed like incredible marketing, but surely you can't believe that it's like an actual lucky thing that you get it.
What do you mean? No, that video. I was really pissed off when I read about the challenges numbers, because I was thinking that's the idea. I was thinking, okay, we are going back to challenge like 4 hours every, be challenged. I was thinking they will go back. I was thinking that's the idea, because you have validators.
Yeah.
But I see they are not trying to increase the challenge numbers.
I think they weren't at the time, right? And they're just doing it slowly. So if we think about this transition, is that we went into it with the network kind of barely keeping up, right? Helium, Nova, I think it was Nova, might have been Helium Foundation, had to stand up more seed nodes just to keep the network kind of barely alive. So coming into the Light Hotspot transition, before we got there, even though it seemed like it was okay, there was this giant extra load that was being, inefficiently managed, but in order to keep the network alive. As we went into the Light Hotspot transition, you don't have to have that same inefficient load, because now you can put the challenge creation on the validators, and the validators can start doing that challenge side of it. So if we think of the whole earnings cycle, you familiar with this, like challenge and beacon and witness and how it all works? Yeah. I'm assuming you do, but I want to check that. So the challenge side goes over to the validators, but there's and kind of unforeseen but foreseeable in general problems when we make a giant change in a big complex system, is that the validators had some bugs that had to get worked out. So, I mean, Sorin, man, I wouldn't even look at earnings until the end of this month.
It's not about the money, Nick. Yeah. It's not about the money, but I checked. So in January, the network was going great. You know what I mean? I mean, how the hotspots was creating challenges. Yeah. I made a video on that point, and I had like over 400 witnesses.
Yeah.
And now I'm somewhere like 50 because they are not beacon. If they are not beacon, they are not coming on my list. You know, you have that feeling. My antenna is dead. I'm doing something wrong.
But you know you're not. You're a professional.
Yeah, but it's not about me. That's the thing. It's not about me. It's about the others.
Yeah.
I replaced the antenna and I still have 2 winners.
Yeah.
I know, because you're in an area with 10 hotspots around you, and they are not beaconing. Maybe they're beacon, but not very often.
Very seldom, yeah. And that's always the kind of the endless question is, how many hotspots do I need around me to reliably witness a beacon? Because the beacon is the thing that starts off the whole earning sequence. So without a beacon, you don't earn. And
yeah, but we are not, the problem are not the earnings. The problem are, are not beacons. Yeah, like how you said.
Yeah,
we want to go back on that time when we have like 30 transactions in 1 hour, so we can see actually our thing is alive.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. No, I think we got
because lowering the challenging rate, you increase gambling. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it just gets. Let's see. That's one good way to say it. I think if you lower the challenge rate, you increase the randomness, like across the network.
Exactly. And you have people, it's not lucky, like one day, and okay, well, it's my fault, my hotspot is faulty, or what?
Yeah. No, and that's kind of, I feel that responsibility as embarrassing as it is as a YouTuber, to help people understand, like, hey, the network is getting more random. And so you have to stretch out your time frame in order to make a good decision. You can no longer make a decision based on 3 days of data. You've got to wait 7 days. And if the challenges really drop down, you're going to have to wait 30 days. Now, in the long run, June and beyond, is that going to be an issue? No, you should be able to see within 3 to 7 days what's going on with the hotspot. But in the short term, right now, May, kind of late May, it's.
So do you really think they will go increase the challenging rate?
I think they're going to get it back to a stable thing that we can understand. Yeah. Yeah, I think they've been talking about this in Discord, but I haven't been paying attention to all the fixes. I mean, so Sorin, here's how I look at this thing, and this is like the coolest thing that I think of is Nova Inc., the new Helium, and Helium Foundation for that matter, is they employ some of the smartest and most capable people I've ever met. Right. So I look at like the work they're doing, and it's not work I couldn't find people to do that work if I had $1 million. And those people, here's how I think of it. Those people are all working basically for me for free, right? To keep my miner up and running. So to me, it seems like such a cool system because they're getting paid, however they're getting paid from their investment or however those guys get paid. And I'm getting paid from the HNT side. And I basically get an entire engineering team to build a global network that I can just take a little part of. And so when I think about, is it going down? Like, yeah, it's going down. It's a giant complex system and they're making a big change. But I couldn't assemble a team to fix that. Like, that team is already assembled and already working on it. So frustrating in the short term, but mid to long term, this is a pretty cool project to be part of. You think like here you are in London, here I am in San Diego, or I think you're in London. And we've got this giant team of experts working for us for free. You don't have to check in on them. You don't have to call and see if they made it to work. You just got to wait for them to figure it out. And they're incentivized to figure it out.
Yeah, you're right.
So exciting thing to do. Okay, I think I've hit, Sorin, all the questions that I wanted to hit. I had a bunch of questions about the gaming side of it and how you're doing it, but I think the perspective that I heard from you was that you're saying, hey, there's 2 things. Number 1, I've got the expertise. 3 things. Number 1, I've got the expertise. Number 2, I'm being asked the questions. And number 3, I'm on YouTube to basically serve the listeners. And so when they ask me a question about how this works, you feel an obligation to answer that question and give them that information.
We have our communities, Nick, and you have to listen to your community.
Yeah. No, I can see you're in a tight spot there. I think you're so daggum talented and so experienced. I would love to see you put out, use that to kind of put out content that is really healthy for the long-term part of the Helium network. Although my guess is that the content you put out, I bet there's not many people using it to cheat. You got some definitely like vocal people are like, Sorin's totally right. He showed me how to make way more money. Like, it's not about the network. I see these comments on my YouTube, like, screw the network. I'm here for the money. And Sorin showed me how to make more money. But I bet most of your followers are like, hey, that's pretty cool. But
I think you have some issue with the internet.
Do I?
With your internet?
It might be going up and down, but on the recording side, it's going to be fine.
Okay. The camera is disabled.
Okay. Huh. That might be...
Your camera is disabled.
Oh, interesting. Let's see if I can... It's still showing for me, so I think we're good. But let me check. That's fascinating. And I went over time anyway. Let's see. No, it looks like it's still recording locally, so it'll get this even though you don't get to see my handsome face.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think you're in that spot, but I would love to see it, Sorin, if you took that and you said like, hey, I'm gonna push out what's gonna make things better for the Helium network and for people to understand it. That would be awesome. So, and I think that's all the questions that I had. Did you have anything on your side? Anything about Helium or anything I can answer for you?
Nick, what can I say? Again, I'm a friend. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not the enemy here.
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything wrong, Nick. Yeah.
I think that could be argued, but yeah. So Sorin, I'm really excited that I got to talk to you and I got to meet you, and I'm excited to continue this relationship and to build a friendship with you. I think that I always love people who are really good at stuff.
Nick, let me explain you how bad things look.
Yeah.
Bad things look like a guy comes with 10K to offer you to let him advertise his hack on your Discord.
Yeah.
That's a challenge.
Yeah. And so you're saying you're getting...
But we have to say no even to these kind of things.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
To make it right.
Yeah. Okay. I like that you're figuring out where the line is and you're walking that line, and that's the right line for you. And I get that. I think that's something I can understand for sure. And maybe when I get that big, I'll have people offering to hack or offering to sell hack space or whatever it is in my Discord. Although I've had people ask me like, how do I game? I'll whatever it costs, like, show me how to game because you know how to game. So I've had the same kind of thing. And she's like, no, it's just like you. I'm not doing that. That's not why I'm here.
No, it's not our thing, It's
yeah.
I have people ask me a bunch of questions about alternators and things. No, I'm just ignoring them.
Yeah.
Not even answer.
That's the right thing to do. Well, cool, Sorin. Thanks a ton for coming on. I really appreciate you making the time so quickly, as we just started this kind of email convo yesterday, and here we are today. So thank you for being so
Nick, anytime. I'm getting bored anyway.
Okay, cool. Yeah. No, I'm excited to see what you do with the 5G stuff. Sounds like that is really where you can put your shoulder to the wheel.
Hopefully it will come on Europe, but we have no news about this.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed.
You know something about this or not?
No, I haven't seen anything.
Maybe you know something.
No, I don't have any insider information on that. I'm sure that it's coming just because the pressure to get 5G out there is so high. But I don't know. I don't have any specific dates or manufacturers or anything. But yeah, if I can put in a good word for you for a manufacturer to send one over, I will.
Oh yeah. Nick. Yeah.
That'd be good.
I'll give you a bottle of champagne, Nick.
Yeah. Well, maybe we just share a meal if I get over there. That'd be fun. So cool. I'm going to hit the leave button on this thing. Don't hang up because it takes like an extra couple minutes to for this thing to load up. Sorin, thanks a ton for coming on the show. I really appreciate you making the time.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you for inviting me. And anytime when you get bored, just call me and I will come. Yeah.
Right on.